What's up, guys? Welcome to the weekly Warp Pipe, a podcast dedicated to retro video games, 80s and 90s toys, and all things nostalgia. This week's episode, we're going to be jumping into the Warp Pipe and going back to renting movies and video games. Old rental stores, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and mom and pop shops. We got special guests on the show, Retro Rick. It's going to be a great time. Be sure, if you enjoyed the content, to follow us on our YouTube platforms. My channel is RussLyman, Lyman, or Bit by Bit and Snacky Snack Time are my three channels. And you can follow Jay over at NES Addict. All right, guys, let's get into the episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly Warp Pipe. I'm your host, RussLyman, and of course, as always, with me is Jay.
What's up, guys?
And we got a special guest. Retro Rick is in the house.
Hello. Grateful to be here.
What's up, Rick?
I'm glad you could get on the episode. We're talking today about rental stores, renting movies, video games back in the day, VHS tapes, probably more like it, maybe DVDs, but mostly
VHS,
90s, going to like Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, mom and pop shops.
Mom and pop shops.
For sure. Do you guys remember renting movies more, you would say? Or like if you would go, it'd be you get one of each?
For me, it was movies.
Movies? Yeah, a lot of movies. You go on, a Friday night? Get the movie for the weekend?
Absolutely. The first movie I can remember actually renting was Ernest Goes to Camp.
Oh, I love it.
You and the Ernest movies.
Yeah. I have a Ernest DVD right next to me that has 3 different movies on it.
Nice. The compilation.
Yeah, I definitely went. So we had mom and pop. We did not have, which I think is probably a really important question to even start off is like, did you guys live in a large city or town? Because I lived in a town of 800 people, population 800. So renting movies and games was a huge part of my childhood because there wasn't anything else to do.
Right.
Exactly.
There wasn't anything you did. I was just like, yeah. So we went to this. It was called Heritage Video, and they had it was probably 400 square feet. It was just like little bitty.
Right. Definitely shop. Sounds mom and pop and vintage.
Oh man. And
Heritage.
Oh yeah. It was mostly VHS, and they had a deal. 1 weekend a month, they had a deal where you could rent 4 movies for $1 on the weekend.
Wow.
It was 25 cents a movie.
That's nice.
We would get 4. We would get 4 movies.
2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday.
Oh, dude. And then watch them again.
Yeah.
Watch them all on Sunday. Marathon.
Marathon it. Get all the police academies.
Yeah. So when I was real little, I grew up in this little town called Four Oaks, North Carolina for about 4 years when my dad was in the ministry or seminary. And, we got all our movies from a gas station.
No kidding.
I don't even know what the name of it is, but that's where we got them.
And that's what it was like back then. Like we were talking last episode with arcades, you would go to like a deli and they would have an arcade. And it's like, almost seems like a lot of people, okay, let's get into this renting game, rent movies, video games. Because I rented at where I'm from, we have Stop and Shop, grocery chain, and they had their own video section where you could go in there and rent videos and video games and everything. So if awesome. Mom's like, we're going grocery shopping, you're like, all right, I'll hang out in the video store.
Seriously, that's all. Yeah. And for me also, there was a card machine, like basketball cards, like one where it was like $1 for a pack of cards.
Nice. You put the quarters in and
I just spent all my time. But my favorite memory of that mom and pop shop was, remember the movie posters?
Oh yeah.
But they were like thick, like really thick paper, and they were humongous.
Oh yeah.
It was the promo for the movies. They would sell the promo poster, 3 weeks after that movie wasn't a new release anymore, and you could buy them for $3.
Nice.
And I would always buy my favorite ones. I had a huge Little Giants poster in my bedroom that I got from the movie place. I love
Little Giants. Some movie's great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Being able to get like your favorite movie poster. That's another thing, going in and seeing the movie posters and then the cool, like standees, like it's a cutout of Arnold Schwarzenegger or some other action star in there. And it just kind of had that atmosphere when you walk around.
I went to a flea market oh, I don't know, probably a month ago. And I saw in the flea market booth, they had a huge VHS promo display for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, okay.
It had like the VHS and it had like now on VHS or whatever. And I don't care about Snow White, but I was like, I wonder if I can find one of those for a movie I like.
Right.
Like a E.T. or a Space Jam or something. Like, I bet there's something out there. I bet
I need
there's
like
one
an
out there.
Emilio Estevez with all the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, it'd be so sweet. It'd be so sweet.
Well, it's
I
like,
love it.
and those would be so rare because probably most of the shops probably throw those out.
Yeah.
It's like, who saved them?
I don't know.
I would purchase a lot of my games I would go to like Blockbuster and they would have the used like video game section.
Okay.
And every year my mom would always get me a gift card for Christmas to Blockbuster. So we would go to my aunt's for dinner. And then on the way home, we'd stop at Blockbuster because they would be open on Christmas Day. And I'd spend my gift card right then and, get
that's awesome.
like 2 games or whatever. And then I could play it on my Christmas break.
I don't know that I ever bought games from Blockbuster, but I definitely remember buying like their used DVDs.
Okay.
Yeah, I never bought games from the movie rental places. The only thing I ever did was whenever it was called a movie gallery, I think.
Yeah,
Movie gallery.
Yep. Okay.
They went out of business. I had just graduated college. I think it was like 2009 or something like that. And they went out of business all over in Arkansas. Like they were done. I went to every movie gallery and I was buying 4 different DVD box sets. They were selling for like $80, $90 a piece.
Okay.
And I was buying them for like $3. I think I made $8,000 that
You were
month.
flipping them.
I made like $8,000 that summer selling DVDs from a closing movie gallery. It
That's
was awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, I just was hustling, man.
It's always been in your blood.
Oh, always.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, most of the rental I had Blockbuster Video, and we had another local chain called Tommy K's. But then there was a lot of the mom and pop shops, and basically on the weekend I would go to my dad's and stay with him on the weekend, and he lived in like the Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go and he would rent horror movies for him to watch. And then I'd be able to pick out a Nintendo game. And
Nice.
it was always a challenge too, because you just have the box art to go off of and whatever it says on the back of the box. Like, is this going to be a good game? If not, I'm stuck with it for 3 days.
Go ahead.
Do you guys remember, since you said the horror movie thing, was there a movie you guys remember seeing in a movie rental place?
Okay.
That like scared the crap out of you? Like you were little, you were younger. I have one in my head. It was that it's the one, I think is it Hellraiser with
the pins
with
in
the
his
pins.
head.
Yeah.
with the pins?
I didn't
I
like
remember
that either.
seeing that when I was a kid and like literally gave me nightmares. I was like, I saw a VHS cover and I'm scared.
Wow.
I didn't like Ghoulies where they're like coming out of the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You would always have to look when you go to the bathroom, like,
Exactly.
anything under there? I would say,
Exactly.
you ever remember a movie called Pumpkinhead?
Yeah.
That
I don't know
one,
that one.
for sure. It's like, another creature, like kind of like alien looking or whatever, and like grotesque. That definitely scared me as a child.
No, it scares me now. That's scary.
That's funny because that really, you saying that totally triggered my memory. I was like, oh my God, that one was definitely one where I'm like, who thought of this?
Right. And I found the VHS tape not too long ago, like maybe a year ago at Goodwill, the first and second one. And I was like, this scared me as a kid. I got to buy this VHS.
Whoa, that's crazy. Was there a specific movie that you guys remember renting over and over and over again or anything?
Like multiple times.
Yeah.
Ferris
Mighty Ducks
Bueller.
was actually one of mine. I watched I rented that movie so many times because we didn't really buy VHS when I was a kid.
Right.
Like we were the typical family where we would buy like one Disney clamshell a month or something, but like
Right.
we didn't just have a plethora of movies. Like, so we just always rented.
Just made more sense.
Yeah. For a quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
exactly.
made a lot more sense to just rent.
I remember getting Ferris Bueller several times.
That's a good one. Probably for me would be Wayne's World. It's a
Nice.
classic one. I had the
I
soundtrack
love that movie.
and it wore it out like the cassette tape because I listened to that. So
I used to fall asleep to Wayne's World on DVD in college. And
Really?
What's cool about that one is the preview, or like the
title
title screen.
Yeah.
The title screen is an old like cable access, like different channels, and it like, kind of scrolls real slow. And it's like Wayne's World's on this. So I wake up every morning to like that screen every single morning in college.
Nice.
Awesome.
I wonder if someone just uploaded that part of the video on like YouTube and on a loop. You could just watch it.
That's actually a really good idea for a YouTube video, like to put together old commercials or something and like have it all
Old like DVD intros and stuff like that.
Yeah. I love that.
The Batman intro is so dope.
On the I have to
on the old
like
VHS.
On the old VHS.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like a Coke commercial.
What's your guys' last memory of a rental place? Like, is there anything even like that around where you guys live, or has it been a pretty good time?
Last year, or the year before, we had a family video, and they actually closed their doors. And before they did, I went in there and filmed the whole thing with plans to putting it on YouTube. I haven't done it.
You loser! You need to.
I know.
I want to watch that right now.
What's funny, Jay, is last time I went to go see you for Southeast Game Exchange, we left and ended up staying at one of my friends in North Carolina, and he actually got us to go inside an old video rental place. It's been there forever, but they turned it into a workout place on the main floor, but the second floor has all the storage and stuff. And he was been trying to get in there forever. And he was like, called the guy and was like, hey, I got some YouTubers down. They want to film, like, if you could let us in. And they let us in, and I have all the footage, and I have yet to release the video. I have to edit it. But oh my God, all the stuff that he had, like we were talking about, promo, like figures. He had a bulk amount of like Blues Brothers, like fiberglass figures. Like,
oh man, that's so cool.
He had the Mario that Brandy just got.
Oh, what do you want for that?
He wasn't, so it's like his dad's, and he wasn't like parting with anything. We got to go through it all, but he wouldn't sell anything. But he had tons of like promo stuff you would see at all these, like the things that would hang from the ceiling, stuff like that. He had a Michael Jordan. It wasn't Michael Jordan, but it was a basketball phone that was like the basketball, and it would like open up, and I was like, this is so random. Sick. But yeah, just being in there, and I was like, I could only imagine. And he had the sign on the outside was kind of apart. I can't remember the name of the rental place, but that was like the last time I was in a rental place. Before that was probably a Hollywood Video, had opened up very late in Connecticut. I want to say it'd have to be like 2000s, maybe 2006 or somewhere around there. And it didn't stay very long.
It almost feels like it almost feels like we will be talking about this in 5 years, and there will be this again. Like, I think there will be movie rental play. I just think it's like one of those things that's like, wouldn't that be crazy if you could go someplace and just look at old movies and rent them? I think it's going to be a thing again. Like, everything comes back around.
Right.
And I would not be surprised.
Well, how there's retro game stores now. A lot of, like, my local place is Retro Games Plus. They have 3 stores here in Connecticut and 1 in California in Huntington Beach. And he's been selling a lot of VHS tapes out of the store because it fits with the whole.
It might make sense just to merge the two.
Right. As for like doing an actual rental, I don't know how much that is to take in, because you have to log all the people who's got what and all that. But
do you guys remember having the little cards? Like the little membership cards? I
still wish I had my Blockbuster card.
I actually have one, but I don't know where it's at. It's not my original, though. Someone sent it to me. It was theirs from the 90s. Nice. I was like, are you sure you want to send me this? It's really cool. It's someplace. I don't know where.
I have one from a mom and pop shop. Yeah. And me and my dad are both in the picture. And I have a bowl cut.
A co-ed picture.
So cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I went to a flea market probably a year ago or so, and it's a really, really rundown flea market, like pretty sketchy.
Those are the best kind.
Oh yeah. And I always love asking, like, I love to know the stories behind flea markets. And I'm talking to this person, and he's like, we just bought this flea market a month ago, and there's all the other wing that's been literally boarded up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? He goes, well, this thing used to be an old video rental place in the 90s. And they just said they just threw all their old trash back there. And I'm like, do you think there could be like video games back there? He's like, I'm pretty sure there is. So I spent all day digging through this trash.
Like it was actual garbage trash, like
it was like papers, newspapers, boxes, old rental cases. I ended up digging up, I think, a Genesis, an NES, and probably about 20, 25 games. But I'm the guy thinking this could be it. This could be the tubs full of their old rentals with like literally the numbers and everything.
Right.
And I filmed it all, just was like, please let this be the jackpot. And it wasn't, but it was still a cool
At least
thing.
you found something.
At least I found something. Yeah.
I could have found nothing. Did they have any stickers on the carts that you found from the place, or no? Everything was like clean.
No, everything was clean. So I don't know how I got back there, but
when you guys find games that have those stickers, do you leave them on?
I tend to leave most stickers on if it's a certain age, if I can tell, okay, this is like 90s, I'm going to keep it on probably. But if it's like newer stuff, newer game store, I take those off.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's so funny where like videos, when retro collecting started taking off and stuff, there's so many videos of how to remove stickers, take all these off. And it's like, now it's like, you almost want to keep that nostalgia on it. I was just at a trade event, and this guy had 3 copies of NES games. They were in the clamshells, so like rental cases, where they would cut the box and use that as the insert for the rental case.
That stuff kills me.
Which is like but and then they had stickers on the clamshell itself, like $2.99 rental, and it would say like action, so it's in like the action section or whatever. And then you open the case, and on the cart itself, it would have whatever rental number, and it would say $5 fine if you lost the instructions.
Though, had they not done that, they probably would have just trashed the box. So at least they preserved it some way.
You think they would have thrown it out?
Probably.
I mean, I have gotten a couple of those like video games where it's in the plastic clamshell, and they just ripped off just the front and taped it on or glued it on, and it's like, you really can't do anything with it. You just chunk it. I mean, I'm not going to keep it. It doesn't really help it. And I'm just like, it's a killer, man. It's a killer. We did have a place, going back to that question about when's the last time you went to someplace like that. We had a place in the neighboring town where I live now. They had a VHS rental store. They did DVDs too, but they were mainly VHS. And it was up until probably like 2012, 2013. Like,
okay,
it was weird. You could tell it was an older man.
They were hanging on.
He just was hanging on. Not even like, I'm trying to make a bunch of money. He just was like, I just think VHS are cool. I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing it.
He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah. I would ask him, I'm like, how many of you renting out a week? He's like, we might rent out 10 a week. I'm like,
wow.
It's so sad.
Poor guy.
It's so sad.
As far as I know, I haven't gone lately, but about 2 years ago, me and David Apuzzo went to this shop in Hamden that sold VHS, but I'm pretty sure he also rents them out. It was during COVID, so he wasn't allowing people in the store, but he would wheel out racks in front of the store with VHS tapes, and you can browse them outside and then purchase it through the window or whatever. But I've been meaning to go back there and check out the place.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, there's also a place in Bridgeport called the Archive, which is just a shop, and they sell VHS, DVDs, and Blu-rays and records. And it's got 2 floors plus a basement. And it's set up really awesome. I've only been there once. Dave just went there. Apparently this past weekend, it was like National VHS Day.
Nice.
So they were doing a sale that were 50% off all VHS tapes. And he's been selling a ton on Whatnot, David Apuzzo, with VHS. He got a huge lot of like thousands of VHS tapes. And he's been doing streams like 2-3 times a week with tons of like horror VHS and all that. So there's definitely still a market for VHS out there. The only downside.
One for me.
Oh, you got one from you?
Yeah.
I would say with the VHS tapes, you have to be careful because of it gets mold. on the film itself.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. It can.
So cleaning it's definitely a pain.
Do you think
done.
we're just, I always think maybe this is just being an old man. I just always think too, it's like, I hate it for the younger generation of missing that whole experience.
Dude,
right.
Like they have no idea. Like I know it's convenience. It's like, I get it. But there's also something to literally looking at your friend and it's 3:00 on Friday afternoon and you're like, dude, we're about to get a game. We're about to get a movie this week. Let's get Ferris Bueller again. No, dude, we're getting this. And it's just like, and then you would go and then you would spend an hour just
looking,
just shopping, man. And maybe again, it's an old man thing, but I just think they're never going to experience that.
There was some tangible stuff about it. Like even the way they smelled in there just had like the smell. Sometimes they might be having like some popcorn in the background going on. TV's playing up in the corner, right. Other people shopping around. It's like a whole experience.
You could bump into another kid, be like, "Oh, what game are you renting?" And maybe give you some tips.
Right.
You got some codes for Contra? I can't beat it.
What games do you guys remember renting?
Man, I don't know why. I rented the weirdest games. I rented this game called General Chaos on the Genesis a lot. Oh,
yes. Yeah. I remember the cover of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I rented that one a lot. I rented the Mickey games. I grew up on the Genesis. That's the first thing we had. Like 89, 90s when my dad bought one. So we played a lot of Genesis. Yeah.
I can remember renting Diddy Kong Racing on N64.
Okay, nice.
That was a fun one. Game. And I distinctly remember renting, not me personally, one of my friends rented it. It was one of the Mega Man X games on PlayStation. And I remember I went over his house. It was like Sunday or whatever. We were playing it for a bit. And whatever time it came, his mom was like, all right, we got to bring the rental back. And she took the disc out to bring it back. And we could still play the game as long as it didn't have to load a screen.
Nice.
I was like, that's pretty cool. But I was like,
you can still
don't go in that door.
Don't go in
That's funny. I remember renting Fester's Quest.
Oh, no kidding.
And being super disappointed.
Yeah, that's not a great one.
I remember, and then when the Super Nintendo came out, I remember getting Bill Lambert's Combat Basketball and pretty much the same exact feeling.
Yeah, these are terrible. You should have YouTubed which games to rent, dude. Hey, I'll tell you a game we rented all the time. I mean, solid month straight, and then everybody rented it. Tony Hawk, man. Original Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1. And we would play graffiti all freaking weekend. That mode, graffiti, remember that one?
Yeah.
I don't think I do. What was that?
You like tag stuff when you trick
basically
it?
Yeah, so like if you do a trick off of whatever wall, you get a certain amount of points and then it would light up. So say your color's red, it would light up red. And then if Jay does a trick on it and beats yours,
it's blue.
It turns blue.
Wow. Oh, okay.
So whoever has the highest amount of whatever
at the end. Yeah. Well, I didn't even know about this mode.
Oh, it's almost like Splatoon. Like whoever gets the more percentage.
Right.
We would play it all weekend long. We loved that game. I mean, obviously we loved it, but it's like as a kid and that came out, we're like, what is this? This is amazing.
It's such a good soundtrack. You start getting you're like, who's Goldfinger? Who's these fans?
Who's Millencolin?
Jay showed me that video of them. Goldfinger, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Of them like during COVID redoing the song.
Oh yeah. I got the idea. I had seen them put out a video like that, and I contacted my old band, and we did like a quarantine style music video too.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, this is fun. I was like, you guys want to record this?
The other game go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll say I'd never see the rental cases for the consoles. I never see those. People you see people have like, oh, I got the Saturn, I got the Sega. I'm like, I never even see those. Where do you find those at?
Jay from the Game Chasers finds those things all the time.
Yes. It's so weird. I'm like, I've never seen one.
You have one?
Oh, of course he does.
The other game I remember playing was Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and it was so hard.
Oh man, I almost bought one of those at some point.
There's my Virtual Boy rental case from.
That's awesome.
And the foam inside was all messed up, so I had to put like replacement foam inside and do it. But
Yeah, that's sick. Look at those games.
Virtual Boy, and then I put my games in there. That didn't come with that, but
you play that every night, right?
Don't we all?
Before you go to bed.
I find it helps my vision, helps me go to sleep faster.
Strains my eyes good enough to
close my
put me
eyes.
to bed.
I have perfect Virtual Boy vision.
I was bringing you up I forgot which video it was. I don't know if I put it out yet because I did a haul to get some Virtual Boy games, and I was like, Retro Rick has his profile picture as the Virtual Boy, yet I never see him talk about the Virtual Boy.
You know what's funny?
I was going to say the reason why I have the Virtual Boy is like one of my favorite stories of how the channel started. I was basically going to garage sales, and I'd never filmed, and I didn't film this, unfortunately. But I did the whole, go to garage sale. Do you have any old games for sale or any old games? And the guy goes, what kind of games? And I'm like Sega, Nintendo. He's like, nope. And I go like Game Boy. He goes, wait a minute, Game Boy. Wait, nope. We got a Virtual Boy. And I'm like, what? I have a Virtual Boy up in my attic. And I'm like, yes, sir. That is exactly what I'm interested in. And he brings down this it's one of my very first videos I did like 3.5 years ago.
I remember this video.
Yeah. And he's like, and I'm like, tell me the story. He said, well, I used to own a hotel or a motel. I used to own a motel, and I had this as a rental. People would rent this out from the motel like lobby from me. And I'm like, oh, it's disgusting, but it's so cool. That's the coolest. That's the coolest Virtual Boy story I've ever heard.
That's pretty neat.
Have it. It's literally right here. It
nice.
took me 6 months to get the smoke smell out of it. Like
wow.
It was deep.
Strong.
And it was deep in that because I have the box. It's crazy.
Yeah, I got lucky with my Virtual Boy because I actually have two of them.
Wow.
One of them, bro. So the first yard sale I ever went, I was like, I'm going to go yard sale hunting like they do in Game Chasers.
Yeah.
I go to this one last place and they whip out a Virtual Boy, and I'm like, sweet.
Did you ask?
Well, I was like, no. I said, do you have any old video game stuff? And they're like, yeah, we actually have something here. I walked in, there's a Nintendo console and a Virtual Boy. And I was like, what do you want for it? And they're like, make an offer. I was like, $5. And he's like, Mom, you take $5 for this? Yeah, get it out of here. And what's so funny is when I went home and I took a picture of myself with it, and it looks so reminiscent of the one you have on your profile.
Wow.
I guess I was holding it up, with a big red thing in front of your face.
That's great. $5.
And then the next one I got, there's a thrift store I go to frequently, and I knew some people in the back, so they would hold stuff for me. And I got there, and they're like, "Yeah, we have a Virtual Boy in a box," and I was like, "In a box or in like the box?" And they're like, "Yeah, It's in the box." And I was like, "What do you want for it?" And they're like, $10. I was like, "Score."
So $15 to get two Virtual Boys.
$12.50 for both my Virtual Boys.
Wow, it's amazing.
I can't say I ever seen Virtual Boy stuff though at rental places.
No. Well, only motels, obviously. Only motels is where they rented them.
You can do two things at motels, and one of them is play Virtual Boy.
Jay.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, rental games are definitely fun. A fun way to try out, the games before you would drop like $60 on it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I would basically just get like 2 games a year. You're going to get it on your birthday and maybe Christmas time. So
really, maybe if that. I think I was more like a one. Well, that's not true. We got one a year, but we got all our games at the pawn shop. There was a pawn shop like half a mile from my house, and that's where we would always get games. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's the only way to test them out was to rent them.
Thank God I didn't get Bill Lambert's.
Yeah, it would have wasted.
I mean, you can get that game cheap. It's terrible.
It's so bad.
I would say the games too that had password systems were great because then you can rent it one weekend, and if you didn't finish the game, you can write down your passwords and come back and beat it possibly the next weekend. But if you're playing like Zelda where you use a battery save, you go to rent that game again, someone probably erased over your game and you got to start over.
Yeah.
Or just use their game, I guess, start with where they left off.
Or get the manual that they had from the previous person and they wrote down one of the codes. And you're like, oh, I got to the 8th level.
Yeah.
I'm so good.
We're going to beat it tonight.
Yep.
Can't wait to tell the kids in the playground at school.
I beat Link in 20 minutes.
Nice.
Look at our ridiculous rooms in the background. I'm just like looking at these rooms. I'm like, we need to grow up.
Got all the neon lights and
So ridiculous.
all our signs.
I've never seen it quite from this angle. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Go get a life. I need to get a life.
You got a life.
I think y'all's looks great. I think y'all's looks great.
I think yours looks great.
My wife, she just walks in here sometimes. She's like, this is ridiculous.
I know.
I'm like, I agree.
How did we all get married?
I know.
Well,
someone like this.
Somebody.
Well, hey, we'll wrap it up some with Rick. Tell us where people can find you. What do you do?
Yeah, Retro Rick across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, a little bit of TikTok now. But yep, 80s and 90s, mainly hunting for like those nostalgic pieces. I was doing like reviews and stuff at the very beginning of the channel, but been about 3 years now of just hunting at flea markets, garage sales. And I just kind of film it and take people along for the experience. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Plenty of tips and tricks if you want to see how to stretch that dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I always kind of pitch it too, is I've gotten this game collection, all this stuff behind me for free by flipping stuff, man. Just getting stuff and then keeping a couple things and selling the other ones.
Selling the rest.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
Excellent.
The hustle, man.
We appreciate you being on the podcast.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Honored.
And yeah, as always, guys, we got new episodes every Saturday at 7 a.m. And you can listen here on YouTube. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google. A lot of people have been listening on other platforms, so we definitely appreciate that. And if you want to write a review, you can do that. That'll definitely help the podcast grow. But yeah, I've been your host, RussLyman, and keep your world fun bit by bit. Jay.
Take care, guys. Rick, good to see you, buddy.
Y'all too.
Later.